Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. It is Apex here with another market sector analysis. So today, getting the sector analysis done just a little bit before the closing bell, as I have class at 4 o'clock. But nonetheless, I don't anticipate much to change in the next 10 minutes. Overall, SPY had a quiet day, but QQQ and TAN particularly led the way. QQQ Bulls in full control, as earning reactions such as Netflix, Amazon, well, earning reactions inspired from Netflix's big rally last night have inspired companies like Amazon to have nice steady increases in price. Apple had a breakout. Facebook looking strong as well. Excuse me. So tech sector leading the market bulls higher. But for SPY, looking at today's high of 384.95, that needs to break. It might break in the last couple minutes of the session, but right now it appears to be a bit of a double top. If it breaks, that's fantastic. If not, then 384.95 is our interim pivot high. Pivot low, it remains at 373.70. Bulls have carved out a little bit of space here, so any pullback I would expect to see a bounce. But we see declining bull volume, so we'll have to see more definitive break tomorrow, pushing into the 385, 390 levels psychologically. We'll see if the bulls can get much follow through that pocket of resistance. I will go over actually that channel just one more time so that we can conceptualize where we might be running into a top. So the main trend line that I'm watching is obviously the upper one. Appears that we have, I mean, if we just saw a bull day tomorrow that broke much higher, we could see that 390 level come into play. Seems to be the most likely candidate. So we'll see what happens as the week closes and next week begins. The dollar still in this weekly descending wedge. Now seeing some daily pullback. Pivot high that the bulls need to break is at 90.9 level, and the pivot low that is rapidly approaching that they need to hold is at 89,920 level. So dollar bulls not really showing a whole lot of strength after this daily trend change, which has been a common theme time and time again until it isn't. QQQ showing that strength, as I mentioned, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, all big tech names having incredible days over the last two sessions. Main high that the bulls need to break is today's high of 327.13, and the pivot low they need to defend is 310.58. Carved out enough space where any pullback I would expect to be bought back up. We have a gap to fill, so the daily uptrend looks like it is going to be favorable and intact for a number of sessions or weeks. IWM showing a little bit of weakness today. We are seeing a bit of a market sector rotation as QQQ bulls were kind of lagging behind over the last few sessions while IWM had a lot of strength. Now it's the opposite. QQQ bulls are stealing the spotlight while IWM is briefly pausing. Main pivot high the bulls need to break is 215.98, and the pivot low support is 208.26. Looking on the hourly chart, we can see a bit of a channel to watch, similar to SPY. Draw it out quickly for y'all. And copy it to the bottom trend line, bottom wicks, I should say. Something like that. So it looks like we are at bottom support right now if this ascending channel is to continue in a bullish sentiment. However, the hourly bulls need to get over this January 20th pivot high of 215.16 if we are to confirm continuation and the hourly trend change. So look for that to happen and develop in the next few days. SMH inside bar showing some strength. Need to see a break of the high today of 246.14 or the low 241.88 in order to see directional confluence. Pivot low that the bulls need to defend, or I should say the pivot high that the bulls need to break is at 246.79, quickly approaching that 250 psychological level. And the pivot low that they need to defend is this triple bottom here at 232.50. Bulls have carved out enough space where I would suggests that if the market conditions stay optimal, we will see a higher low and continuation above. I'd say continuation to that 250 level. However, we are quite extended without a very prominent pullback. So I would not be surprised to see a break of that level in the future. TAN showing a lot of strength here, great bull volume coming back into the mix. Good to see the solar sector bouncing back after a number of sessions to the downside. Pivot high that the bulls need to break is at 123.66 level, and the pivot low they need to defend is at 106.88 level. XLV still breaking out of this bull flag that was set over here last week. Pivot high the bulls need to break is 118.69, and the pivot low that they need to defend is 115.83. So hopefully the bulls can see some more continuation up and over this. I would like to see a strong push towards that 120, mid 120s level. Although we have confirmed this bull flag, it will be nice to see that strength. So today we formed an inside bar as well. So we're looking for the high of 118.47 or the low of 117.54 for directional confluence in the days to come. XLF, notably weaker sector today, pulling back. The level that the bulls need to hold is this 30.49 level, which we are rapidly approaching, and the level they need to break if we see a bounce and continuation from that bounce is 31.62. So that 30.49 level needs to hold, and that 31.62 level needs to break. But we are seeing a bit of a pullback here. We can zoom in on the hourly chart to track the trend. So we have a strong down move. The most likely outcome from one of this size is a lower high compared to the pivot high. And now we just see a steady decrease in price value, walking its way down. So what we need to see is we need to see a strong impulse move. Ideally, that breaks over this pivot set on the 20th of January, a higher low compared to wherever that pivot low is set, and then continuation higher. If we break over this January 20th pivot, I am confident that that could be a decisive piece of evidence to suggest that the hourly trend has changed and thus the daily bounce is set. But as always, I do like to see confirmation, a break above a higher low compared to the pivot low, and a break of that higher high or interim lower pivot high would be the ideal scenario for me. And XBI pulling back as well after making a new high. Bulls need to break the pivot of 156.67 to see continuation and ultimately hold this 145.75 level. The bulls have carved out enough space from that pivot level, that 145.75 level, to where I would suggest the most likely outcome is a higher low on this pullback and then a break of the all-time high to see more bullish continuation. But we'll just have to see how that plays out. Looking at a couple of stocks today. So something I have seen time and time again in this market is the low volume, higher low. So we'll have to look at FOOV, prime example here. So this is one I was calling out on Twitter. So we see a nice triangle formation, great bull volume throughout. We see a strong breakout with good bull volume, and then we see a low volume pullback to the breakout level and strong continuation from there. So this is something I'm seeing over and over again. So Uber, same idea, strong breakout of this trend, looking for that low volume pullback, and hopefully we can see an explosion higher towards the target levels. Solo did this as well. See a little note I made there. But we have the triangle setup, great bull volume. See a strong breakout with good bull volume and a low volume pullback, signifying potential for continuity to the upside. And we get that confirmed with a great bull node in the volume today. 28.7 million shares traded in this name. I would expect a nice rally from here. I am 2/3 size position added into this stock. But we see this time and time again. There's others, I'm just trying to think. XPEV, same idea. So we see the symmetrical pattern, Great bull volume, strong breakout, increasing bull volume from there. Low volume pullback, and then a break to the upside. So hopefully we can see more continuation here on this individual name. But you're getting the point. Entered a position on apps today. Turn this off quickly for y'all. Enter a position on apps today as we retested this pivot high. Nice low volume inside bar. So looking for the high of today. $65 to break tomorrow or into next week to see continuation from this trade. BYND I got to fill. I was using this 20 EMA as my reference. Put a limit order just above and saw a great bounce so far. But you can see again, what is the common trend that we are experiencing time and time again? Huge impulse move up. Actually, let's restart. So we have a symmetrical pattern, in this case, a descending triangle. We see fabulous bull volume throughout. Okay. We see a strong impulse move with that bull volume confirmation. And then we see low volume pullback, which is prime conditions to see an impulse move higher. So hopefully we can get that on apps and BYND, but we are seeing it throughout the markets on XPEV, Solo, Uber, and a bunch of other names as well. So hopefully we can see this continuation throughout the next couple weeks. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, learned something from it as well, and I will talk to you tomorrow.